Hello and welcome to Westcountry Wanderings. Welcome to my monthly vlog for the month of July 2023. If you haven't seen one of my monthly vlogs before, we're going to be reviewing the month, what's been happening on the videos, and I'll be reading out the very best of your comments from the month, as well as looking forward what's going to be happening on the channel for August 2023. Where are we today? Well, we're in the magnificent town of Marlborough, which sits south of the town of Swindon in Wiltshire and north of the county town and city of Salisbury, kind of halfway between the two. It's quite busy here, so hopefully you can hear me above the traffic though. Be filming in and around the town today. I got here quite early. It is still chilly here today. It's only about 8 degrees, even though we're supposed to be in summer, and it's getting wet later on as well. But a beautiful summer's morning here at the moment. So I hope you can stick around, have a look at the review, and I'll tell you something about this wonderful town here in Wiltshire. Beautiful green space here in front of the church, the main church in Marlborough. And even here, just have a look, let's have a look at this. Can't believe this, we've even got pears, yes, pears, would you believe, right in the town centre here in Marlborough. Marlborough also sits, as well as being between Swindon and Salisbury, it's on the old main route between Bath and London, the A4, so it's on a crisscross of roads. It also is on the River Kennet. Now the name of the town is pronounced Marlborough, not Marlborough. I did check that with a couple of sources. When I come to do these monthly vlogs, it's always important to check the pronunciation. It's definitely Marlborough. How old is the town? Well, in the grounds of nearby Marlborough College is a mound, and recently it's been carbon dated, and the date of that has taken it back to 2,400 years BC. Well, that's incredible, isn't it? In fact, this part of Wiltshire is surrounded by Neolithic and Iron Age sites. 5 miles from here is the amazing Silbury Hill, which we will visit on a future episode here on Westcountry Wanderings. Now, when I come to new towns, well, new to the channel, I mean, I have been to Marlborough before, it's a beautiful town. When I come to these places, I like to see where the name comes from. And like a lot of places I come to, there is some dispute with the matter of where the name Marlborough comes from. Now, according to legend, nearby to Marlborough College is another mound, possibly the same mound that was been carbon dated. I'm not too sure, a bit difficult to find that out. But legend had it that is where Merlin is buried. Yeah, see where I'm going? Yes. So Merlin, yeah, there's a connection there, but whether he's buried there or not, I think it's much more likely that it comes from the ground. Marlborough is actually built on rock, and the name of the rock is the Marl. So yeah, I think that's much more plausible from a geological basis and feature of how the town came to get its name here in Wiltshire. Now, this house I'm currently standing in the front of is a former 17th century merchant's house. It's now a museum, and often, particularly during the summer months, they do guided tours, including from 2 o'clock this afternoon. But unfortunately, by that time, I'll be chucking it down the rain and I'll be heading home. But yes, merchant's house here in the High Street in Marlborough. Now, a 2-minute walk from Marlborough High Street takes you here. This is a little tributary off the River Kennet. River Kennet's a chalk stream, and there is a circular nature chalk stream walk you can do. Just on that side there's an island, I think it's called Townmill Island, and the other side of that is the River Kennet proper. Wonderful place, right next to Marlborough High Street. Now, although I was expecting to see the river and the stream just off Marlborough High Street, I wasn't expected to see sheep. These sheep are just opposite where I did that piece to camera, next to the chalk stream. Yeah, just on a path, right here in the heart of the town. That's terrific and amazing. Now it's at this point here that the main River Kennet meets up that chalk stream we saw earlier. It also joins a leat, which originally provided a source of water and power for the town's mill. Very useful information panel here, telling you more about the wildlife on the Upper Kennet. Also a couple of facts about the river, the first one of which, it's one of England's most important chalk streams. That I kind of knew, although I don't know that this part of the Westcountry Wanderings region that well. We will be back here again for another reason I'll mention shortly. But the most important thing, I've really amazed me, is it's 45 miles long, but during the summer it makes up half of the River Thames's flow. That's amazing, because this is a tributary of the River Thames. It meets the River Thames further on down at Reading, a place you probably have heard of, a large town in Berkshire, which is way out of my area. But this part, the upper part of the Kennet, obviously lies within the West Country here in Wiltshire. Now, like a lot of chalk streams, the water flow comes from underground aquifers. So though you have a spring, which is just a few miles from here, at a place called Maniton, I think, which is near Silbury Hill, the water flow is added to by it percolating up through the chalk rock bed. So what's been happening on Westcountry Wanderings then during July? Well, there was 10 videos in all. One of them was kind of a hangover from last time, similar to this morning. This morning I've just published a video on Shaftesbury in Dorset, the first time we've been in Dorset for a little while. I hope to be back there again soon. And on the morning that I did my last monthly vlog, which was from Chedworth in Gloucestershire in the Cotswolds, I put up a video that morning as well, and that was one in my 7-way series. It was 7-way 17, titled Sultry 7, and the reason for that, it was a very hot walk from Starport on 7 to the wonderful city of Worcester. I got bitten all over that day. The temperature got up to about 29 degrees. It was a little bit challenging walk, but a very beautiful one too. And I had lots of different comments on that, including a comment from Mai Chung, who often contributes comments onto my channel, but usually on my canal ones. So thank you, Mai, for doing a comment on one of my 7-way videos. And Mai writes, a lovely walk with some stunning scenery, and for me personally, the jewel that was the 11th century church. Now that church was the church at Holt, which was above the banks of the River Severn, and it was, and indeed, an amazing place. It is hard to imagine how long it's been there. The type of ever-changing congregation of churchgoers that have used it over the period. It's showcasing an area and what has to be on offer in a most positive light. Yes, thank you very much, Mai. I really did enjoy the walk, but it could have done with being a little bit cooler. There is another 7-way video to mention this month as well. Come on to that. And I hope to be back on the 7-way, heading south to Bristol again very soon. Now, speaking of monthly vlogs, the last monthly vlog was from the village of Chedworth in Gloucestershire. I don't normally mention them when I do reviewing the videos, but I had a lovely comment, and I just explained a bit of behind the scenes what happened with that video. I was inside the village church there doing some video clips. As I was doing that, the clock struck on the church clock. I think it was 11 o'clock. I thought, oh, I'll include that audio. Now, an hour later, when I was doing some pieces to camera with the church in the background, the church bells rang again. So I thought, ooh, maybe I could record the audio of both and do it all as one sequence from the inside of the church to the outside of the church with the bells constantly ringing. But it wasn't done like that, but it was just the way it was done. I just stuck it together. It seemed to work. And I had a lovely comment from Donna. Donna has her channel called Donna's Adventures in Canada. Donna is a botanist. She does some excellent wildlife and nature videos. Well worth checking out hers. I'll put a link in the description of today's on her channel. Hi Paul, wow, the moment of quiet with the bells ringing in the church was just lovely. Such a fantastic area to visit and to review your videos. Thank you for the shout out. Yes, privileged, John. I really enjoy your videos. Unfortunately, I don't always get time to watch all of them because of, well, you know what it's like creating content as well, but hope to view them again soon. So yeah, thank you very much. Now last year, I think it was around September time, I met up with some other YouTubers in the town of Shrewsbury, which is obviously a bit out of my area, but I'd been in and around that town and I did a video about it because of course it's on the Severn Way, and that was organised by a lady called Alice. Hi Alice. Now she had arranged that, and there was lots of people that got together there. It was a brilliant time, and she organised another one. Unfortunately, some of the people that were on that one couldn't make it, but it was in the city of Coventry. Coventry's almost in the centre of England. Again, it's a bit outside of my area. It's kind of to the north and to the east of it, but terrific place. Did a video from there, meeting up with Alice and Howard, and again I'll put links to their respective YouTube channels in the description of today's. It was a terrific time. I didn't realise how much of Coventry had survived. Obviously I knew about how it was bombed and the devastation it was caused to the cathedral and all that. I also found the cathedral, the remains of the original, the second cathedral should I say. There's nothing left of the original cathedral because that was the Reformation when it was destroyed in the 16th century. But walking around that second cathedral that was bombed by the Luftwaffe is a very, very moving experience. As you enter it, I was really, really quite moved by that. But we had a brilliant fun day there, and it was good to see Alice again and also to meet up with Howard, who I'd not met before. And they both do travel vlogs, not kind of things that I do, because they do much further afield, usually abroad and usually in Europe, so it's not a West Country thing. But it was really good to meet them, and I say they both have really good channels. Howard recently started YouTube, so pop along to his channel, give him a shout out and a comment and a subscribe. I'm sure he really appreciate that. Had some comments on that one, including one from Faith G. Hi Faith, I was pleased when I hear from your comments, a really nice comments. And she writes, similar to my thoughts really, I had no idea that any of the old Coventry still existed. The ruined cathedral with the statue from Dresden, yeah, that was moving. And the wording, Father forgive, yes, on the wall was quite moving. How appropriate that there should be a chapel of reconciliation in the cathedral. Yes, in the modern cathedral there are a couple of chapels, and one of them is called the Chapel of Reconciliation. Again, that's very moving. It's in a modern style, but it is a very poignant place. So thank you if you watched that video and commented upon it. The most popular video on my channel this month was called Can the Phoenix Rise Again? If you hadn't seen it, it's set in and around the town of Weston-super-Mare, which lies in North Somerset. Now, I was familiar with the town because I used to be in the Royal Air Force, and I did my training at the #1 radio school at RAF Locking, which no longer exists. It's now a huge housing estate, and I think there's like an industrial site on it as well. So I was familiar with the town from then, hadn't really been back there since, so it was about 40 plus years. So I thought it was time I revisited Weston-super-Mare, not least of which because I'd heard there'd been problems with the Burnbeck Pier, and I also remember going on the Burnbeck Pier with my grandmother also in the 1980s. Sadly, the pier was closed for safety reasons in the 1990s, and there's been a battle to try and get that pier restored. It was privately bought, but now thankfully North Somerset District Council own it, and they're going to start a restoration project. Obviously they need additional funds and additional volunteers for that. But I went along there and took some photographs of the pier to show you what it looks like now before restoration can begin. I was comparing it also a bit further up the coast is the town of Clevedon, who managed to restore their fantastic pier a few years ago, so it'd be great to see Burnbeck restored like that one. Had a brilliant comment, and that was from Martin Cheney. Hi Martin. I have so many fond memories of visiting the place on family holidays through the 70s and 80s. I haven't been back for many years, so it was really interesting to see what it's like now. Yes, thank you very much, Martin. I think that's the case for a lot of people. I think for me, the place with family holiday connections is either the Lake District, which is out of my area, but also Weymouth, which I have done a video at, and we will be back there again, I'm sure, at some future point. But I will follow the restoration of Burnbeck Pier with a great deal of interest, and any updates I'll bring to you right here on Westcountry Wanderings. Now I've just come up from the river, come back through the high street. I'm now on the green, lovely green space here. Unfortunately, it's right next to the main road that links Swindon to Salisbury. That aside, I met a lady down there and she asked me if I was filming nature. And I said, well, kind of. I said, if there's any around swans and that sort of thing. I said, I've just seen the sheep. She said, if you go over to a place called Stonebridge, you'll probably see more. So that's where I'm off to now. I digress. Just seen a plaque on a house and it says, nobody of any importance has ever lived here, which I found rather amusing. But it reminded me there are a few notable people from this lovely town here in Wiltshire. And one of them is a gentleman I've mentioned previously on the channel, and his name is Sir William Golding. In fact, the last time I mentioned him was when I was with Louise, just down the road in Salisbury, because both here and in Salisbury, he was a teacher. Of course, he was a famous novelist, most famous for Lord of the Flies, and I believe he taught at nearby Marlborough College. For a little while now, in the comments section on my railway series of videos, people have been saying, when are you going to do something on the Somerset and Dorset Railway? Well, this month I did. It was part of my Lost Railway Walk series, and I did the 2 Tunnels Greenway, the southern part of Bath. I caught the train to Oldfield Park Station, courtesy of GWR, and a very short distance from that railway station gets you onto the 2 Tunnels Greenway, which takes you down through the delightful village of Midford, which once sat on the Somerset and Dorset Railway from the Somerset town of Bath, of course, city, should I say, Roman city of Bath, heading down to the Dorset coast, the town of Bournemouth. But of course, like I mentioned in the video, that was originally in Hampshire when the line opened. It travels through some amazing countryside, and that section to Midford has been completely restored with 2 tunnels on it, now open for both cyclists and walkers. And I had an adventure walking through there. The first tunnel is fine, you just get through that, but it's the second, the longer, the Coombe Hill tunnel. The first one is Devonshire. When you go through that, it took me about 35 minutes to walk through it. I think if you're cycling, you probably do it in 5 or 10 minutes. It is lit, but only very dimly lit, so I did a bit of nighttime photography in there. But it is really quite, I wouldn't say it was spooky or scary. Everybody was friendly. As you get cyclists come up, they are on the lookout for cyclists, although I was holding my torch. I had 2 torches with me, one at the front, when I was kind of holding backwards. It was a bit difficult for juggling the camera as well, but I thought when I heard a cyclist coming, and you can really hear them coming because of the tyre noise echoing through the tunnel, which is quite an eerie sound. That video has done the second most popular one on the channel this month. Had a great comment on that from Malcolm Richardson. Thank you, Malcolm. The architecture from tunnels to viaducts and earthworks is breathtaking, as is the magnificent countryside through which it passes, referring of course to the Somerset and Dorset railway line. The S&D must have formed a marvellous 100-mile finale of the long journey of the Pines Express, which once travelled from the northwest city of Manchester through to the Dorset coast. Although those long tunnels must have been hell for the engine crew, and as I said in the video, 2 of the engine crew actually passed out through asphyxiation in the Coombe Hill tunnel, causing an accident with fatalities at one point. I think your splendid walk captured some of the magic of the line. It's good to see it reopened for the enjoyment of all. Thanks very much, Malcolm. And just to say that there is a preserved heritage line near the town of, well, it's near Shepton Mallet. It's the other town I can never remember. Midsummer Norton, that's the one. Near Midsummer Norton there is, which obviously was on the S&D. There is a heritage line there. It's only a small one. It's not like Gloucester, Warwickshire or West Somerset Railway or the other ones we've seen on the channel. But it is worth looking at, so I hope to do that soon and probably explore some of the other parts of the old S&D at a future point as well. Well, I'd really like to thank the lady that I bumped into. She, in fact, her children, and we had a bit of a conversation. That doesn't often happen, actually. She wasn't a subscriber. She asked me if I was doing some nature filming on the banks. I explained I was a YouTuber doing a monthly vlog. And turns out her 2 sons actually went to school not far from where I lived, small world. I digress. She told me about this place, saying you could see some nature around here. So thank you. I didn't catch your name, but it was really nice to meet you, and thank you for telling me about Stonebridge. It's the most pleasant place indeed. It's a bit further away from the high street, but it's still within Marlborough itself. We had one short bite in July, and that was from the Worcestershire town of Evesham. Now, what had happened earlier in the day, I'd been doing a Cotswold Walk video from Wiltshire to Stonebridge in Gloucestershire, and close to both those places is the Avon banked town of Evesham, about 4 or 5 miles away. So it was a beautiful evening. So rather than driving home after the walk, I decided to head into Evesham. Now, this video was a little bit different because there's no music in it, there's no commentary, no introduction. It's literally snippets and video clips of touring around that very historic Worcestershire town. It seems to be climbing really slowly. By that I mean a positive thing. So after the initial launch, it's still growing, creeping up. So people are looking at it. There are a few other videos on Evesham, but I don't think there's any in the format that I chose to do that particular video. And it's a format perhaps I will come back to at some future point again on the Short Bite series. Had some great comments on it from, including Jessie's Grand Day Out. Hi Jessie, I hope you are well. Thank you very much for your kind comments throughout the whole of this month, and I'm really enjoying your videos as well. I really enjoyed this new format, showing us around a place with moving pictures and natural audio. Sometimes it's really difficult capturing natural audio. It was shot later part of the evening, so early mornings, latter part of the evenings is always best in doing urban areas for that reason. Seeing the River Avon made me think of a fact I learned in Bath the other week. Avon is the Celtic word for river, which is why there are so many River Avons. And yes, and at least 3 of them in the area that I cover. There's probably more than that, but there's 4, because there's one in Devon, isn't there? So there's the Bristol one, Avon, I have that one. There's the what other one is it? The Stratford-on-Avon one. That's the one that the Evesham sits on, of course. And also there's the Avon that runs through the city of Salisbury, which is just a bit further south from here. And there is one in Devon too, in the middle of Devon, South Brent, that area. There's a huge reservoir up there on Dartmoor. So yeah, at least 4, probably more, but yeah, at least 4. So yeah, thanks for reminding me of that, Jessie. Which is why there are so many River Avons. Also makes me smile that River Avon then actually translates into river. Yes, indeed it does. Thanks very much, Jessie, and thanks for your excellent videos. Appreciate it. Then had a return to Worcestershire. In fact, I devoted an entire episode of my 7-Way series to the city itself. It wasn't actually a walking along the 7-Way, but just taking some time to look at the city and its history and the beauty of its architecture. Had a top comment on that video from Louise from Southwest Sundays. Hi Louise, been really enjoying your content lately. It's been fantastic, and congratulations on getting over the 800 subscriber barrier. I think it's about 811 or 12 now, so that's fantastic. You'll soon be on 1,000. I know you'll do it easily before the end of the year. Cracking videos at the moment. So much history and interesting information. The Swan community sounds a wonderful thing. Yeah, now what Louise is referring to there is there's a stretch of the River Severn from the bridge, from Worcester Bridge down to the cathedral. And the swans actually take care of themselves over there. It's where normally you just have like a pair of swans and some cygnets. There it literally is like, there's hundreds of them that urban residents in the centre of Worcester, and it's fascinating watching them. They even sell swan food in the cathedral. Nice to see a Boston Tea Party. Yes, Boston Tea Party is a Westcountry chain of coffee shops. Well, they sell tea as well, of course. They're great. And Worcester has one. There aren't that many branches. I know they've got them in, where have they got them? They've got them in Plymouth, Exeter, Taunton, Salisbury, Worcester, of course. They've got a couple in Bath and 3 or 4 in Bristol. Yeah, plug there for Boston Tea Party. They always use ethical things and source their products, all that really good stuff. So yeah, top tip for Boston Tea Party. Loved the pear finger post toppers. So yeah, you've got these signs in Worcester and they have got the pear shape because the pear is the emblem of Worcestershire being a fruit county. Yeah, it's really good to see those, and they're all multicolored, they're all different. Normally they're just like black and white or white on black, aren't they? But in Worcester City they're all different colours, each one has its own style. And the Lee and Perrins and the Elderfax, yeah, so it's home of course of Lee and Perrins, and mentioned that in there. And Sir Edgar Elgar, who lived in Worcester for a while, and that brilliant composer. So thank you for Louise, great comment. Oh, the River Kennet here is just the most beautiful river. Got a couple of islands here. There's a duck on the nest over there, and I think there's a couple of moorhens in the reed beds as well. You wouldn't think you've got all this just on the edge of a bustling market town here in Wiltshire, but you have very clean looking chalk river as well, and it's really important of course that our rivers such as these are protected. Anyway, I'm not going to get into a politics mode. I'm going to talk about the next video, but before I do that, I just want to mention the fact I've had a bit of a tidy up, a bit of housekeeping on a couple of my playlists. Mainly, well, the most important one to mention is railway series, because they are popular videos on my channel, like the canal ones I do, but obviously that's not all that my channel is about, of course. But what I've done is I've grouped them together, so like all the Devon railway series ones are together now, and all the Cornwall ones are together, all the Gloucestershire ones, etc. So I've renamed them. So if you've got, when I've been like to where I've been to the Gloucestershire Warwickshire Railway several times now, and the West Somerset Railway several times, Avon Valley, I've called them by the first name, so Avon Valley Railway 1, Avon Valley Railway 2, just to make it a lot more easier to find. So if you're looking for a specific video on a preserve line in the West Country, and I haven't done them all yet, I'm still trying to get around them all, and we will go back to the other ones as well from time to time. We've got a Dean Forest Railway one coming up, by the way, soon, just waiting to edit that one. But yeah, so they hopefully will be a bit easier to find in the playlists. I've done similar with the canal ones, and I'll start working my way through some of the other playlists. Excuse that tune in the background. I think there's a school over there. I think it's playing over their tannoy system. Maybe it caused the children to assemble. I thought they'd broken up, but interesting noise. So hopefully that won't distract you too much. In terms of recurring series, one of my popular series is the Cotswold Walks, and they've been attracting attention from people from abroad as well. I think I mentioned in the video that I did, I went to the Cotswold village of Wiltshire and walked to Saintbury on a beautiful day. Two lovely villages, again well away from the honeypots like Castle Combe and Broadway, which of course Wiltshire is close to. But I talk about the public transport in that. Had some really nice comments on that video, including somebody who contacts me regularly. Hi Diana Rolfe. Always great to hear from you, Diana. Lovely comment again. I don't know if it's my imagination, but Wiltshire's buildings seem to be mostly that of a very warm golden colour of the Cotswold stone. And Saintbury, a slightly different hue, not so golden, as if it's quarried somewhere else. Yes, thank you very much for that. And I went on, I replied to it because Diana's comment hasn't finished there. I'll come back to it. They were indeed quarried from two different places, as I replied to Diana. The Wiltshire is the same quarry that Broadway is. It comes from the Broadway Hill there by the tower. There was a quarry there, quite a large quarry. It's all fenced off now. It's National Trust farmland. But yeah, so that's where Wiltshire stone comes from. And Saintbury, as it's kind of a bit further across the valley, if you like, the Vale of Evesham, and working its way up the escarpment towards Chipping Campden, got its stone from the same quarry that Chipping Campden got, which is near Dover's Hill, that most amazing hill with brilliant views all the way across the Vale of Evesham, right up to into the Welsh mountains, up to Birmingham and Severn Vale, where it's tremendous. Anyway, I digress. Diana's comment continues. How lucky that those walkers turned up just the right time. Yes, well, as I arrived at the church, I couldn't get in. I tried the door. I thought, oh well, I'll have to do another piece of camera explaining I can't get into the church. And then about 16 walkers turned up with a key. So yeah, I managed to get in there. I couldn't do video because they were all like looking around as well, but I managed to get some photographs in the video. The bull in the field, you were braver than me. Having said that, it reminded me of a visit to an organic farm which was going very well with chickens, lambs and sheep until the farmer took us into a field of cows. Some way into the walk, he told us the bull was in there too. Oh wow, that must have been a bit of an experience. However, Diana continues, apparently though, they were French cattle, Charlois, and extremely friendly. Well, thank goodness for that. Yes, when I saw the sign for the bull, I was like, am I going to continue with this walk to Saintbury? But thankfully, they were all in the far corner of the field. And as I was walking across diagonally, I kept looking across, ready to make into a run if there was any sign of movement. But they still stayed well away from me, and I stayed well away from them. Now, talking of railway series, the next one was a railway series video. It's actually the 5th video I've done on the Gloucestershire and Warwickshire Steam Railway, a very, very popular and fantastic preserved line in the area that I cover here on Westcountry Wanderings. Not only was this one to look at steam trains and diesel trains in that video, but also I wanted to have a look at Cheltenham Racecourse Station. It's the only one of the stations that I hadn't yet covered on the GWSR, but also to have a look at how you can get from Cheltenham Mainline Railway Station, which sits on the Bristol-Birmingham main line, to get to the Heritage Line, so you can actually get there via public transport using the old Honeybourne route itself, which you can do. Also had a look at the tunnel there, the Hunting Butts tunnel, as it makes its way there, and see what plans they've got for opening. Had a great comment on that from a gentleman called John Timbrell, slightly humorous comment. At 32 to 35 minutes into this video, it was just a long series of shots of the steam trains with their attendants going about their very mundane business. I loved it. John then poses the question, why do restored trains need a second motive power? Is it to save engine wear and tear? That's a brilliant question, John. And then there were in the comment section, if you want to go into the comment section on that video, if you are interested in the full answer to that, there's a gentleman called John Keepin, who also has his own YouTube channel. And he has more authority on railways than what I do as a real expert. So he replied to that a great deal of detail. On that day, though, the reason for the double headers is that one of the locomotives I mentioned is owned by Pete Waterman. Yes, that Pete Waterman from Kylie Minogue and all of that stuff from the 1980s. But he's really more into his trains these days, kind of retired away from the pop music industry and all the hustle bustle that. I can't blame him. Really nice gentleman, apparently, as well. I've never met him, but from the GWSR comments I've had, people that have met him saying he's a really fantastic guy. He's also the president of the GWSR as well. But he owns that locomotive you saw in the video, and I think because it was on loan, it was actually from Peak Rail, which is up in Derbyshire. It was just on loan, so they were just utilising it on that train, so they had a double-headed train. But there's more technical reasons as well. Sometimes you do get double heads, so check out the comments for more information. The final video for this month was Hidden Places of Bath. Been to Bath before a couple of times. I did a collab with Louise from Southwest Sundays, I think it was about 6 or 7 months ago. That was a really enjoyable video to make. Also visited the city before when I finished the Cotswold Way, coming up for 18 months ago now. So it's a really, really vibrant city. Of course, it gets very busy. Now, if you're like me and you don't enjoy so much really, really busy places, although Bath has a lot of interest and it's well worth exploring the busy places, it's also nice to come to nice quiet places like this one. So what I thought I'd do was to have a look at what places you go to in Bath. So if you're staying in and around Bath, where you can go to get some peace and quiet, and also to look at places that aren't seen so often. So if you go onto YouTube, put in Bath, you'll see videos and they'll cover similar sorts of places, but the ones that were in the video I did there aren't seen so often, including the Bath Abbey Cemetery with those fantastic views over the city. And we'll come back to the city of Bath because I want to do the Bath Skyline Walk. There was lots in that. There was also the Widcombe High Street as well. Again, another part of Bath. It doesn't get seen that often, but it's a beautiful high street with lots of independent shops and cafes and bars and antique shops. Has a great, vibrant atmosphere and community as well. I really enjoyed my day there. Had a great comment on that video. I will just check my notebook as I'm talking to you, and it was from the USA. A couple called Barbara and Daryl. Hello Paul, just watched this video and I can't thank you enough. We just booked our B&B stay in Bath near Henrietta Park. That's a lovely part of Bath. This is exactly what we're looking for. Less crowded and more peaceful. Seeing the cemetery will be a must. We love exploring and looking at old headstones. Thank you very much, and I really do hope you enjoy your holiday in Bath in a few weeks' time. I certainly enjoyed my afternoon there. Also like to mention on that video is that I met up with Louise, not to do a collab, but she was filming in Bath as well, and she was doing a different twist on the city of Bath. Her video is excellent. It's Bath on a budget. It's looking at how you can stop over in Bath as cheaply as possible and also enjoy the city for the least amount of money as possible, because obviously going to places, particularly cities, and accommodation these days and food and eating out can be very expensive, but she shows you how you can do it on a budget. It's well worth checking out. Put a link for it again in the description of today's video. And thanks, really good to meet up with you, Louise. There's one more video to mention, and that is this morning, the video of Shaftesbury in Dorset's just gone up. I can't comment on that yet because I've not seen your comments. It's literally just went up as I was recording this early this morning. I think it went up about 8 o'clock this morning. So yeah, I've not seen that. We'll be checking that one out. And what's coming up? Well, I've got the Dean Forest Railway. I went there about a week or so ago. That was really great fun again. And I had a contact from the Dean Forest Railway. So they said next time I film there, I could meet up with a couple of their volunteers. They are aware of the fact I struggle with busy places, and they know I am autistic, so they are aware of that. So we've agreed to film in one of the quieter stations. So that sounds brilliant. So I hope to do that when I go onto the Dean Forest next time. I will be back on the Severn Way, be heading down to Upton, maybe 2 on the Severn Way. All depends on the weather. So maybe we'll get across the border into Gloucestershire, into the town of Tewkesbury as well. So that'll be really good. And what else we've got coming up? Will probably be something from the Somerset coast. Yes, I hope to do something for the Somerset, and potentially something from the Dorset coast as well. I haven't done much coastal stuff. I think Kill was the last one I did on the Somerset, so I hope to be back on the Somerset, maybe something around Porlock. I haven't really planned that out, so there'll be something on that. Unfortunately, Devon and Cornwall, yeah, I'm afraid that won't be happening this month in August, because August, getting to Devon and Cornwall, if you've ever been on holiday in August in Devon and Cornwall, you'll know the reason why for that. I will be back for Devon and Cornwall. It's not like I'm not saying I won't do content from Devon and Cornwall on Westcountry Wanderings, of course we will, but the next time that will happen will be in September when things quieten down a bit again. So there'll probably be another Cotswold Walk again, because they're always popular. I'll probably do something from the south of the county, or not the county, from the southern part of the Cotswold. The Cotswold region is huge. It really is an enormous area, because it stretches up well into Warwickshire, all the way down into Somerset to Bradford-on-Avon. So it covers an enormous area. Sorry, Wiltshire, isn't it? Bradford-on-Avon's in Wiltshire, not Somerset. But yeah, so it covers a huge area. So there's loads of places where even in August you can find places which are really, really quiet, as it is here today in Marlborough, Wiltshire. Thank you if you've watched any of my videos from the month of July or any of my back catalogue either. Really do appreciate it. It enables me to keep the channel going. And say it's not yet monetized the channel. It probably will be at some future point, but it won't make any difference. Unfortunately, because it's not monetized, it means I have no control of the adverts, and they do pop and appear in odd places. Yeah, when it's monetized, I'll try and get that sorted to make there be less adverts in the middle of videos. I do appreciate it's annoying, but unfortunately at the moment I don't have any control over that. It's all down to YouTube, I'm afraid. But thank you if you've really shared my videos. I know quite a few of you do share my videos onto, I know I mentioned Kathy, so thank you for sharing my videos, Kathy, recently. So I do really appreciate that. I know several of you do likewise. Also, if you've liked, and also if you've commented on my videos, taking the time and trouble. I know we're all very, very busy. If you're taking the time and trouble to comment, appreciate that as well. I do apologise for fellow YouTubers. I haven't been able to catch up with your bits and pieces as well and comment on your videos. It is so difficult sometimes trying to do that, but I hope to do that again very, very soon. So if you're a YouTuber and I haven't commented on your videos recently, I do apologise. Hopefully I'll put that right again very, very soon. Thanks very much for watching today, and thank you very much for supporting my channel here, Westcountry Wanderings. Until next time, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you on Westcountry Wanderings very, very soon. All the best. Bye-bye.